So the Chiefs had one receiver going nuclear today at training camp as he gears up for a monster second season. Then we got news another receiver's thankfully only dealing with a minor injury. On top of that, we got some of the best news possible as a very key player returned to practice for the first time. This begins the process of what should make them even more dangerous this upcoming season, and in today's video, I'll talk about that, Mahomes' thoughts on the return of the deep ball, standout plays, and more from today's training camp practice. But first, how about those? Alright, so training camp is actually sorta, kinda, almost over. It ends next week. We are well over halfway. Time flies. It was a bit of a lighter day. A lot of takeaways to get into though, so let's jump into everything that took place. They are getting ready, first off, for their first preseason game on Saturday against the Arizona Cardinals, and Andy Reid told the media that he thought the guys had a great day, lots of effort from the ones, and then regarding Saturday's game, he said every quarterback will play one quarter. Mahomes for the first quarter, then Minshew in the second, followed by Bailey Zappi, and finally Chris Oladokun. The reality is the key starters will play one, maybe two drives. So if the Mahomes-led offense goes 3 and out, that might be all we see from players like Mahomes, Kelsey, Worthy, and so on. The defense, we'll see, but most of the key starters will probably only play one, maybe two series. The starting offensive line is the group, though, that I would love to see out there for as long as possible. The whole quarter would be ideal, especially considering Josh Simmons is a rookie and Kingsley Suamataia is essentially brand new to the guard position. Andy was asked about that, though, the O-line in particular, and he said they will see how it goes, and he doesn't anticipate that going on for more than a quarter. He wants to keep the numbers down for game one. On the subject of the offensive line, during today's practice, the rotation involving Jalen Moore continued at the right tackle spot today. He split reps with Jawan Taylor as they are, what I'm assuming, continuing to manage the workload on Jawan Taylor's knee and just get him ready for the regular season. The day prior, though, Jalen kicked inside and split reps with Kingsley Suamataia at left guard, so it seems like they are continuing to have him ready to go as the next man up at either tackle spot or along the interior if they have to. I don't think Jalen's going to be the first option along the interior, probably Mike Caliendo. You also have Hunter Norzad, but nothing wrong with some experience there for sure. And then I found this interesting, but the legend himself, Terrell Owens, was seen out there in attendance during today's practice. But even more interesting than that is the fact that former Raiders head coach Antonio Pierce has been out there the last few days. Spags did coach Pierce back in the 2000s when Pierce was a linebacker for the Giants, so that's the context of why he's probably there. They have been close over the years. This doesn't mean really anything at all. We saw John Gruden do something similar last training camp. I just love to see Raiders fans crying in the comments about it, and it makes those guys being out there in Chiefs gear that much sweeter. Now, as far as those who did not practice today, Rashee Rice missed his second practice in a row with a groin injury. Meanwhile, Hollywood Brown has now missed the last 7 days with an ankle sprain. That's what I presume it to be. Andy spoke with the media after practice and made it seem like Rice's groin issue is more on the minor side of things, adding that they are just being cautious, so some good news there. Then Jake Brenningstool has now missed his 10th day of practice with what I would say is a more serious hamstring injury. It's not serious enough to have him placed on IR, but the undrafted tight end out of Clemson had a lot of hype after the draft when the Chiefs signed him, and he's missed a lot of valuable time. Some good news though, 2 players did return today, one of them being very exciting. The first is the return of linebacker Drew Tranquill after he missed the last 4 practices with a tweaked back. Not really sure what's going on, but again, with him out there and working, it seems minor in the grand scheme of things. He wasn't a full go, okay, but he did get some limited work in, didn't participate during teams, but it's a step in the right direction. And then the biggest news of the day, aside from Xavier Worthy going nuclear, was cornerback Christian Fulton being seen out there for the first time all training camp long after having a knee cleanup procedure done back in the spring, and that means he is officially off the PUP list. I mentioned yesterday that we should see him back out there soon, and while his return is awesome because it means he's progressing in his rehab, he's still going to take a week or 2 to fully ramp up. Fulton, just like Tranquill, was limited during today's practice, not yet working in team drills, though that was to be expected. We may not see him a full go for a little while, but still, that is welcomed relief for the cornerback room that in theory is much better than last year with him in the rotation. Once Fulton is ready to go, that gives Spags another outside option and should in theory allow McDuffie to kick inside basically whenever he needs to. If you combine the limitations of Nick Bolton in coverage at times with Chamari Connor struggling in the slot last year, the middle of the field was an area opponents attacked with a lot of success almost every week, and that's why the idea of Trent McDuffie being able to kick inside almost at will should add a huge boost to the defense this season. Defensive back Nazeeh Johnson has been working a bit more with the ones at times during Fulton's absence as the next man up in the rotation if they want McDuffie to kick inside. Jalen Watson and Nazeeh have been the outside corners, but the original plan was for sure to have Fulton around for camp to get acclimated and up to speed in his first year in a new system in Spags' complex defense. Regardless, we can't go back now. It is what it is, only moving forward, and I'm excited about the cornerback room with Fulton getting ramped up. Someone with a promising future is the third-round rookie Noel Williams out of Cal. He is another outside option and probably the next man up after Nazeeh Johnson as far as depth and rotation is concerned in the cornerback room, though Spags said earlier this week he's still learning and growing as he adjusts to the pro level as a rookie. Noel told the media earlier today that he's trying to learn something new every single day because the more he continues to learn, the faster and more freely he can play out there on the field. Specifically, he's trying to put himself in uncomfortable situations to intentionally grow. Consistency in press coverage at the line of scrimmage, learning different spots on the defense and the overall scheme. He's getting more comfortable with it all and leans on the vets in the room for additional help as needed. Next up, there was a couple of players that got dinged up during practice today, though thankfully, both seem minor. Defensive tackle Fabian Lovett went over to the medical tent during practice with the athletic trainers looking at his right lower leg area, but he returned shortly after with Andy saying that he tweaked his ankle. Well, the fact that he returned means it shouldn't be anything too serious. Then Big Red said that running back Brashard Smith hurt his finger and left practice a bit early, but Andy added that they're going to take care of him up there, talking about the training staff or whoever is looking at that finger, and he should be all right. Well, my hope is Brashard got cut or at the worst jammed his finger. Don't really want to see any breaks or fractures because I would love to see him out there in some preseason games. The running back room will be something to watch during the preseason with a fight for a roster spot possibly going down between Carson Steele and Elijah Mitchell. Steele, for example, actually got carries today with the first team offense before Mitchell, and Mitchell worked exclusively with the twos. Pacheco, of course, is most likely going to be RB1, and Mahomes could be seen hitting Pop with a no-look pass during today's practice that even threw me off guard. You can see a couple more clips of Pacheco and really a bunch of players from today thanks to the legend Mike Fuller, who sent me like 20-something videos from earlier today. Thank you, man. You're the freaking GOAT. But Pop seems like he's got that full burst back as he's now almost a year removed from that injury. He put on some healthy weight. Meanwhile, Kareem has slimmed down just a tad, and those guys will both be heavily involved. Someone else who will be heavily involved, albeit in the pass game, the receiving game, is Xavier Worthy. He caught a bunch of passes today that showcased he's more than just a speedy guy. His route running is noticeably better. The juke that he made here after the catch was absolutely filthy. He made a sliding grab here on a pass that was off target in the middle of the field, hauling it in. And if that wasn't enough, he had another great catch down the left sideline, adjusting nicely to a ball that looked a little bit underthrown. That's what playmakers do, though. They adjust and make it happen. If that wasn't enough, Mahomes threw a ball into double coverage to Worthy for a touchdown, and he jumped up and hauled it in for the score. He was pumped, as was the crowd. I saw some comments, though, that Mahomes put him in a bad situation, i.e. that was a hospital ball, but here's the reality. This is practice. Full contact is not allowed. Mahomes knows that. And even the way that the NFL is today, it favors the offense and will flag defenders for lighting up pass catchers. So I think he would have been fine. Mahomes threw a ball into triple coverage to DeAndre Hopkins, and the guy hauled it in. It's fine. Let's just enjoy the fact that he hauled in an incredible pass, and Worthy is only getting better as time goes on. The Worthy hype isn't even done yet because he had a solid 1v1 rep here against Trent McDuffie, stopping quickly to create separation. As he hauled in the ball, Trent McDuffie slipped on the field trying to keep up. The big takeaway here for me is that Xavier Worthy might actually go nuclear in year 2 if he keeps this up. He had an incredible back half of the season last year, was probably the standout for what it's worth on offense during the Super Bowl. Then Rice is going to be suspended 4 to 6 games. Jalen Royals is a rookie. It's going to take him time to get up to speed. Hollywood is around, yes, but I need to see if he's going to be able to stay healthy and play for most of the season. Then sure, there is Juju in the middle of the field with Mahomes extending the play on this play here, moving up into the pocket, finding him. And I didn't see this until later, but Juju Smith-Schuster lateraled the ball like a lunatic back to Mahomes, and he took it for additional yards up the sideline. They will never do that in a game, but it was still pretty exciting to see. Anyway, the point is, Juju will be an option in the middle of the field, as will Travis Kelce. But outside of those two, Worthy could very well be the leader in production by the end of the 2025 season. If Rice was not going to be suspended, I would say Rashee leads the charge, but you never know now. Regardless, I'm very excited for Xavier this season as he's shaping up to be well worth KC trading up to go and get him in the first round of the 2024 NFL Draft. Now, to be clear, the defense made some plays too. Chamari Connor had a nice pass breakup downfield on Worthy, and then the camp standout so far, Tyquan Thornton, he had a perfectly placed ball from Mahomes that he should have hauled in for a would-be touchdown, but he lost focus, bobbling it, and Brian Cook showed awesome reflexes to snag it out of the air for an interception. It wasn't all bad for Tyquan though, as Mahomes connected with him later as he created separation on Jalen Watson. Thornton has earned a spot on this roster as far as I'm concerned, and Patrick told the media today that there's great depth in the wide receiver room. Guys like Tyquan Thornton and Jason Brownlee have stepped up with players not working right now. Rice, Hollywood, Sky was out for a bit. He's back, but you know what I mean. It's nice to be able to have guys out there that can fill in and make plays. They've been intentionally pushing the ball down the field at camp as well, with the goal for that to continue into the regular season. I feel like we've heard that the last couple of years. We haven't seen it. Mahomes, though, said that's how he likes to play. He wants to push the ball down the field, with him admitting the last couple of years have been more abnormal for him in not attacking as much downfield. We know why that was last year. Offensive line issues, revolving door at left tackle, no wide receiver 1, no wide receiver 2, and Worthy was a rookie. And when Worthy started to catch on, we saw that begin to happen. Of course, when Mahomes was speaking to the media, he wasn't making those excuses, but we all know how much an improved O-line is going to help this year. And Mahomes did say this season he's going to trust more in the line and hang in there, allowing the plays to develop and just make the throw. Josh Simmons should help with that on the left side, and Patrick thinks he's getting better every single day. We've seen him make plays. He's strong, talented, moves really well, and has done a great job so far. And I know I speak for all of Chiefs Kingdom when I say we want the return of the deep ball in some capacity, so may the offensive line please hold up this year. The biggest question mark along the entire line is really left guard. You go from Tooney to Kingsley, but man, if they hold up even just a little bit more with some solid left tackle play, I mean, that's only going to open up the deep ball, which will in turn open up the middle of the field and help out in the run game. Well, one option in the middle of the field, aside from Juju and Kelce, as I mentioned before, that's going to be Noah Gray. Just like Travis Kelce yesterday, Mahomes spoke very highly of Noah today, saying he makes plays. He's not a big vocal guy, but just puts his head down, grinds, and works hard. He's learned a ton from Kelce over the years, and Mahomes thinks he's going to be a vital part of the offense as they move forward. But with all that being said, are you guys as excited as Mahomes and Kelce are about Gray? And then give me your thoughts on the offense as a whole, with Josh Simmons looking great, and then Rice's injury being minor, on top of Xavier Worthy going nuclear today and gearing up for a massive year 2. Then what do you think about the return of Christian Fulton and how you think that's going to help the defense as a whole? Let me know your thoughts on all that in the comments down below. And until next time, let's go. Let's freaking go. How about those?